Well, hello everyone. This is Crystal Lynn, professional astrologer out here in Southern California. And I want to thank you for joining me this morning. I wanted to come on out. Sorry, I'm not on camera. My camera was kind of acting weird this morning. So I thought I'm not going to let that stop me. So I'm going to come on out. We're going to talk about some astrological things coming up. I also want to let you guys know, thank you. Thank you so much. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus the last few months, and I came out last week with just a back in the saddle again video. And I got so many great messages and glad you're back and all of those things. And they really meant a lot to me. It really did. So I'm back again. See how that works? Little inspiration. We can inspire each other. And that's the goal I have for this channel. Yeah, I wanted to just come on out a minute and talk about some upcoming events. I am going to be doing a special on Friday night, 7 o'clock. I'm going to be uploading the Tanya Harding story in terms of an astrological profile. Many of you guys remember the 1994 Olympics with Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. If you don't remember, go online and look up the story. Hollywood Story has a good documentary of that. This story is coming back out of the, woodwork. It's kind of been in and out throughout the years, but really coming back in a completely different way. And as I was looking back in the charts, I was also looking back what was happening during that time. And interestingly enough, at the rise of these two figure skaters was about 1989, although the story took a while to play out. That was back when Saturn was in Capricorn. So here we are, with this Saturn return 30 years later or 29 years later. And, this story is taking on a whole new life. And, that's what's so interesting about astrology is that we can look at this roadmap. And this roadmap can tell us that we all go through very specific cycles. And really the question I have is, and I know there's people who have their theories on this in the astrological community. I like to have my own theories. So I like to look at everyone's theories and come up with what feels right to me. But, it's this kind of question of free will and fate. And fate. Are our lives fated to be exactly what they are? Do we really have any choices? And yet, when we look at free will, we look at this choice that we have along the path where doors open and we can go a different way. We can go a different way. There's so many times people wake up and say, you know what, I was getting ready to get on that plane. Again, they made an intuitive decision to go a different way, not knowing. But then again, was that fated? If our lives are fated, or maybe there's a little bit of both, a certain amount of free will as we are looking at our lives. And in pertaining to astrology, doesn't this allow us, as we become more open to understanding these cycles and how powerful they are in our lives, that we can maybe prepare ourselves? Can we prepare ourselves? I find that it's so amazing that we do have stories in pop culture, in our cultures, that we can look at and we see these same cycles. We see these same cycles. And do we see them in our lives? Tanya and Nancy were born in 1969 and 1970. I was born in 68. So for those of you in the Pluto and Virgo generation, this was one of our storylines that were playing out in our personal lives. we may not have been in the Olympics. What kind of story was brewing in our own personal lives during those early 20s or high school years? What was happening? So it's going to be fun. I've got some fun stuff planned for that. I'm working on the video now. It's going to be pretty cool. So that'll be up on Friday. Also wanted to answer a few questions. I did get a few questions in my last video, and please ask questions if you'd like. And it really helps me in my future videos. I love to answer questions and see where you guys are at. But one of the questions that was given is, why did I stay away so long? Which I thought was kind of interesting, and, what I've learned about where we are right now on this earth, okay? And it's perfect because right now, as we speak, the moon and Venus are in Aquarius, okay? Aquarius is this really high vibration that helps us see into the future, that helps us see humanity. It really opens up our mind to a completely different insight. We get these moments, these flashes. And then other times, we feel like we're just not getting anything. We're just flat. Because we've been in such a high vibrational transition for a while now, going all the way back to 2012. I'm going back that far, but we could go back into very specific dates that these shifts were happening. Our bodies, our minds, our conditioning, these things come into our life and they get blown up. Okay. They get so highly stimulated. And back this summer, or the last couple of years, being a lot on social media, all of the political stuff, the world being divided. I have a Pisces moon, okay, and a Pisces rising. And I was just taking in so much information, and also being an astrologer, I'm looking into so many different things, which really triggers a lot of things in your life because you're really trying to tap in. And so sometimes that's even hard, when you're seeing these things playing out, why they might be playing out, and, you can't do anything about it. You're watching it unfold. And so, the other issue is, and for many of you who are Pisces, okay, I love to talk Pisces. We've had Chiron in Pisces for a long time now. We're at the last leg of this, the next few months before it moves into Aries. And Chiron, don't take that energy lightly. And although my Chiron return is in Aries, because I have this strong Pisces signature, I actually went through probably what, the intensity of a Chiron return. I'm getting like 2 in a row. And this really, it's hard on Pisces out here right now because they are so intuitive. And, they say that it's the dustbin of society falls onto the Pisces lap. We take everything in. And so for me, it was just this buildup of a lot of stimulation on social media. You get all kinds of fake profile people coming in, and you can't get a sense of, a connection with them because they're not being real. And so the work that I do, I was getting really burned out on not feeling like I could make these connections and know who is on the other side. And, and just having different issues come through. And you see this in this kind of deep, dark band of thinking. And it's just spread like a cancer, throughout everything. And so it's something we have to deal with if we're out here on YouTube or out in the public eye or want to be. I'm actually a very shy person. Yet I do have, I do like to get out there. That Mars and Leo pulls me out there. But I had to take the time it takes. I was having panic attacks, due to the things that were happening this summer and my own personal life changes. A lot of things in my life were surrounding me. I was trying to shape shift into being what everybody needed and doing the right thing and having every right thought and trying to hold this world together, which is what I love to do, my astrology. But it just took its toll on me physically. And I was having these back-to-back panic attacks. They put you on a very, it's like you don't come off of this flight mode. And being as sensitive as I am, I was not able to have that buffer. I could just feel everything. And it got to where it was just not functionable. It was not functionable for me. And so, I got some, I took the break. And I've been looking at my life and working on my life and not running from one thing to the next, seeing what that feels like, allowing myself. Because when you have one of these major, breakdowns, okay, where you just short out, physically, mentally, I'm done. I can't do one more thing. It takes a while to come back and to say to myself, you know what? These are just certain things I can't do anymore. I can't have toxic relationships. I can't put myself in situations that aren't to my benefit or well-being, that I'm worth that. And, it's something I had to do. I had to look at a lot of areas in my life. And so I'm sharing my story with you guys because, I know I'm not the only one out here. I know for sure I'm not the only one because I know what's happening as we transition into this different vibration. And so the good news is that the sun always rises and new cycles happen. And when you're going through this stage where you just feel like you're shorting out and nothing makes sense, you suddenly don't know why we're even here. What are we doing? What is coming to this world? And you allow everything to kind of penetrate your soul. It'll knock you down. It'll really knock you down. So no matter what sign you are, no matter where you are in your journey, in your story, the good news is that this is a wake-up call for all of us to really evaluate what life are we walking into. And the cool thing about Saturn and Capricorn, and the saying that I'll probably post as the title, is take the time to do it right or take the time to do it over. And time is very critical here because when Saturn moves into Capricorn, its homeland, suddenly time changes. Everything slows down. Everything, you have to look at what it is you're doing. What foundations are you truly building to last the duration? What are we doing to last the duration? And, it's for me, it's because I am such a creative person and I love to get out here and I love to connect on this level. I need that in my life it's part of my well-being to be able to use my gift. But I'm also the person that's getting up at 6 and getting my son dressed for school and making breakfast and, got my hair in a ponytail and going down, dropping him off at school and all of those things, just like you guys are. And, when we look back in history, we can look at celebrities' lives a lot of times to kind of get a, just again, to see the cycles that might play out in our personal lives, maybe on a smaller scale, obviously. But I was also watching the Witney Houston documentaries this week. I don't know, they kept popping up on my YouTube and I got down the bunny trail on Witney Houston. She's a Pisces rising as well. So was Michael Jackson. So I can identify with a certain understanding of what they went through. And, here we have Witney Houston. The voice, the icon of all time. Nobody could ever match her and what she accomplished and her fame. And, whatever she touched. And yet lived a very, very difficult life behind the scenes because she's trying to, a lot of times you'll see this with Pisces and other people, but that, you know, trying not to deal, how to come down off reality, how to live in this creative space. She's a very spiritual person, and yet, you know, she dulled herself down. She dimmed her light. She had to, you know, look for that way of escape, and yet was able to try to live these dual lives, this dual life, you know, and you see the end of her life building, you know, the pressure building and what she had to do to make it right. And we're all in that same boat right now, no matter what's happened in the past. And that's what's cool about this Tanya Harding story that we'll look at on Friday. Whatever's happened in the past, you know, a certain amount of that is faded. People that come into your life, situations that happen, ways that you handle it. We do better when we know better, when we actually understand better. You can know something's right, but when you're actually in that situation with those emotions and that scenario and where you are in life, your maturity level, knowing what's right, doing what's right can be two different things, right? And so, you know, a lot of us live with the past, the shame, the decisions. I should have done this, I should have done that. But we did what we did at that time with what we knew, with what we understood, with how we were being fueled energetically, how it was affecting our bodies. Not to blame it all on the planets, but these cycles sure have power. and the more you get into studying the back history in our lives, which is what I do when I read charts. If you ask, I customize my chart readings for you guys. Some of us go back into the past. What was going on at this time? And we can find healing there. We can understand the lessons that were being, and realizing there's lots of players in our story that also have their life cycles being worked out. So there's lots of cool stuff we're going to look at. I look forward to Friday, so I hope you guys will come back. Again, if you have any more questions, I hope I answered the one. Or if you have any more questions you'd like me to answer in a future video, please leave a message below. Or if you have any other astrological profiles you'd like me to be doing, because I'm going to be doing some other infamous or famous stories up in the future here. I really enjoy doing that because that gives us a real big picture of, you know, looking outside of ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we get, or we're just looking at our own lives and we think we're the only one in the world that's ever gone through this or experiencing this. And we realize that no, we all go through these shifts and changes at different times in our lives. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much. I have a little, I'm going to play a little Whitney at the end of this, but if you want to head out, please do so. If you would like a personalized reading, message me, crystallyn68@gmail.com, and let's get you something set up. All right, you guys, have a great day. I had nowhere to turn. I had nowhere to go. No sign of my dream. Thought it would be the end of me.